Here's the fully rewritten script in William Lee's signature style, science-forward, story-driven, with conversational warmth and strong retention hooks, The Olive Oil Effect, What 1 Tablespoon Does to Your Body in 7 Days, hooks 0 o'clock, 0:45. A few years ago, a group of researchers in Spain made a discovery so surprising that it ended up on the front page of the New England Journal of Medicine. They weren't testing a new drug. They weren't studying some exotic compound extracted in the lab. They were studying olive oil. And what they found was that people who consumed it daily reduced their risk of a major cardiac event by 30%. But here's the part that almost never gets mentioned. The changes didn't take months. They didn't even take weeks. They started happening within the first 24 hours. I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens inside your body day by day when you begin consuming 1 tablespoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil daily. Because this isn't a food story, this is a biology story, and it's one of the most compelling ones I've ever come across. Context bridge, 0:45, 1:30. Now before we go further, I want to make one thing clear, because this is where most people make a mistake that quietly cancels out every benefit we're about to discuss. Not all olive oil is the same. When olive oil is refined, heated, or blended with cheaper oils, the compounds responsible for its therapeutic effects are largely destroyed. What you're left with is essentially just fat. What you need is extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed, stored in a dark glass bottle with a harvest date on the label. That harvest date matters more than the expiration date. Fresh oil has dramatically higher concentrations of the bioactive compounds that drive the effects I'm about to describe. The difference between regular olive oil and high-quality extra virgin isn't a marketing distinction. Research shows extra virgin contains up to 30 times more phenolic compounds. That gap is the entire story. Now, let's talk about what actually happens when the right kind of olive oil meets the human body. Day 1, inflammation begins to quiet. Within 2 to 4 hours of your first tablespoon, something measurable starts to shift. Your body's inflammatory markers, C-reactive protein, interleukin-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, begin to decline. Here's why that's significant. Chronic low-grade inflammation is now understood to be an underlying driver of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cognitive decline, and even certain cancers. It's not dramatic, you don't feel it, but it's quietly doing damage every day in the background. Olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal. And oleocanthal does something that genuinely surprised scientists when they first studied it. It inhibits the same inflammatory enzyme pathways as ibuprofen. Not metaphorically similar, mechanistically similar. The same biochemical pathway. The critical difference? Ibuprofen, used long-term, can damage the stomach lining and stress the kidneys. Oleocanthal actually protects those organs while delivering its anti-inflammatory effect. Many people notice less joint stiffness by the end of day 1. That's not coincidence. Day 2, your cardiovascular system starts to respond. By day 2, the effects reach your blood vessels. The monounsaturated fats in olive oil, primarily oleic acid, begin to remodel your lipid profile. HDL, your protective cholesterol, rises. Oxidized LDL, the form most associated with arterial plaques, begins to fall. But the more fascinating change is happening at the arterial wall itself. Olive oil polyphenols stimulate the production of nitric oxide, a molecule your body uses as a natural vasodilator. When nitric oxide levels rise, blood vessels become more flexible. They dilate more easily. The heart doesn't have to work as hard to move blood through the system. Researchers measured arterial stiffness in study participants consuming extra virgin olive oil daily. Within 48 hours, that stiffness measurably improved. Your circulatory system is already responding, and you're only on day 2. Day 3, the gut begins to shift. By day 3, the transformation moves deeper into the microbiome. This is the part that most people don't expect when they think about olive oil. The polyphenols in extra virgin olive oil function as prebiotics. They feed and selectively amplify beneficial bacterial species, particularly bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, while suppressing strains associated with inflammation and disease. Research published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition documented this microbiome shift beginning within 72 hours of daily consumption. There's also a structural benefit happening. Olive oil stimulates bile acid production, and bile acids are essential for breaking down fats and absorbing fat-soluble vitamins A, D, and K. When your bile system functions better, you extract more nutritional value from everything you eat, not just olive oil. Every meal. Many people report noticeably reduced bloating and improved digestive comfort around this point. That's the microbiome beginning to rebalance. And there's one more finding worth highlighting here. Research shows regular olive oil consumption inhibits H. pylori, the bacterium associated with stomach ulcers and gastric cancer. Your gut is not just adapting, it's being actively protected. Day 4, skin and hair get the message. On day 4, the effects reach the surface. Your skin is a reflection of internal biology. When circulation improves, when inflammation drops, when fat-soluble vitamins are better absorbed, the skin responds. Clinical dermatology studies have documented improvements in skin hydration and reductions in photoaging markers in people who consume olive oil regularly. The oleic acid in olive oil is chemically identical to a key component of human sebum, the oil your skin naturally produces, making it remarkably compatible with skin barrier function. Hair follicles respond too. Improved circulation delivers more nutrients to the scalp. Vitamin E and antioxidants protect against oxidative damage. People commonly report increased shine and reduced brittleness within the first week. These aren't cosmetic side effects. They're biological signals that internal systems are moving in the right direction. Day 5, the brain takes notice. Day 5 is where things get genuinely remarkable. The polyphenols and monounsaturated fats in olive oil are lipophilic. They cross the blood-brain barrier. And once inside, they begin doing something researchers are still working to fully understand. Oleocanthal, the same compound we discussed on day 1, appears to enhance the brain's ability to clear amyloid beta plaques, the protein aggregates closely associated with Alzheimer's disease. It does this in part by stimulating what's called the glymphatic system, which is essentially the brain's waste clearance mechanism. Separately, the healthy fats in olive oil support the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for neurons. Higher BDNF is correlated with better memory, faster learning, and greater cognitive resilience as we age. Many people around day 5 notice sharper focus, better mood stability, and improved sleep quality. Sleep improvement in particular creates a compounding effect because better sleep means better overnight brain repair, which further enhances everything the olive oil is already doing during the day. Day 6, blood sugar becomes more stable. On day 6, the metabolic effects come into focus. Consuming olive oil with meals measurably blunts post-meal blood sugar spikes, even when those meals contain significant carbohydrates. The polyphenols appear to enhance insulin signaling at the cellular level, improving how efficiently your muscles take up glucose from the bloodstream. The practical result? More stable energy across the day, fewer afternoon crashes, reduced cravings for refined sugar and processed foods. This is particularly meaningful for people managing prediabetes or insulin resistance. But even in metabolically healthy individuals, the effect on appetite regulation is noticeable. Olive oil triggers the release of GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1, one of the body's primary satiety hormones. You may have heard of GLP-1 recently. It's the mechanism behind some of the most prescribed metabolic medications in the world. Olive oil activates that same pathway naturally through food. Day 7, cellular protection and liver function. By day 7, the cumulative effect reaches your liver. The liver is your body's primary detoxification organ, and it's under constant oxidative stress in the modern environment. Research has shown that extra virgin olive oil can both prevent and help reverse non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, one of the most common and underdiagnosed conditions globally. The antioxidants, particularly vitamin E and hydroxytyrosol, reduce lipid peroxidation inside liver cells. The monounsaturated fats reduce hepatic fat accumulation. The anti-inflammatory compounds interrupt the fibrotic cascade that leads to liver scarring. And at the cellular level across every organ, a measurable change has taken place. Oxidative stress markers are lower, DNA damage markers have declined, mitochondrial function, the energy production inside each cell, has improved. At day 7, you're not just feeling better. The biology underneath has meaningfully shifted. Practical guidance, how to do this right. 1 tablespoon, 15 milliliters daily. That is the therapeutic dose supported by the research. Consuming it in the morning on an empty stomach maximizes absorption. If the taste is too intense, a small amount of fresh lemon juice pairs well and may actually enhance polyphenol bioavailability. Do not cook with your highest quality extra virgin olive oil at high heat. Heat degrades the phenolic compounds. Reserve it for raw use or low temperature preparation. Store it in a cool, dark location. Buy in smaller quantities and replace it frequently. Oil that has sat for 2 years has lost the majority of its therapeutic compounds regardless of what the label says. And one more thing, if you are on anticoagulant medication or have an existing gallbladder condition, speak with your physician before making this a daily practice. Olive oil is extraordinarily safe for most people, but those specific conditions warrant a conversation. Here's what I find most compelling about this research. We are not talking about an intervention that requires a prescription, a complicated protocol, or a significant investment. We are talking about 1 tablespoon of an ancient food, one that Mediterranean populations have quietly relied on for 6,000 years, now confirmed by some of the most rigorous nutritional trials conducted. The PREDIMED study wasn't a fringe experiment. It was published in the New England Journal of Medicine and tracked thousands of participants over multiple years. The cardiovascular outcomes were significant enough that researchers stopped the trial early because it became ethically questionable to keep the control group from consuming olive oil. That tells you something. If you found this valuable, there's more on this channel exploring the science of how what we eat changes how we function at the cellular level, at the systems level, the long arc of how we age. Subscribe if you want to keep following that thread. New research clearly explained without the noise. And if there's a specific food, compound, or health topic you want me to dig into, drop it in the comments. That's where most of our best video ideas come from. See you in the next one.